Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. We are observing the Canada Day, which is celebrating the anniversary of the Canadian Confederation, which was way back in 1867 as well. And every year on the 1st of July, Canadians across the world and Canadians in Canada also wear red and celebrate a very, very important occasion. But this time round, things are slightly different.
Yeah.
Last year, they were different because it was the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, but we've got some recent developments as well. To speak to us about the significance of this day, we've got a friend of the show, a frequent visitor to Sharjah as well, His Excellency Jean-Philippe Linteau, the Consul General of Canada, joining us on the Majlis. Good morning and welcome back on the Morning Majlis.
Good morning. Such a pleasure to be back with you.
Well, it certainly is a pleasure for us. Now, let's start talking to us about the importance of Canada Day. And it's been slightly different from last year when we had pandemic virtual celebrations. But this time round as well, the consulate staff is, I'm guessing, eager for this day as well.
Well, absolutely. Canada Day is always a day that we look forward to at this time. That's this time of year. It's in Canada. It's the beginning of summer. People are out and celebrating with family and friends at this time, and they can do that a bit more than they could last year because of the pandemic and things looking up on that front. So it's the day where we celebrate what we've achieved as a nation. We've built a nation that's based on peace, prosperity, and diversity. It's a country that is a magnet for people from all over the world, and that's what we celebrate on Canada Day. But this year, the celebration is also tempered with perhaps an emphasis on reflection. A reflection on, of course, the lives that we lost to COVID over the past year. And that's been, Canada has been highly impacted by the pandemic. But it's also a time to reflect on how Canada was built and its relationship to the Indigenous peoples of Canada. Canada was built on the ancestral lands of those Indigenous peoples, and Canada has denied those Indigenous people their rights through colonial policies throughout its history. And that includes sending Indigenous kids to residential schools, taking them away from their parents and putting them in residential schools. And at this time, Canadians are reflecting on that history, that dark aspect of our history. And we must never forget the innocent lives that were lost due to these colonial policies. But this year, more than ever, Canada Day represents an opportunity to show solidarity, understanding, and resilience. And Canadians are coming together to reflect on that history and culture, but also to look forward, to have a dialogue and to strengthen those ties that unite us and look forward to the country's future while acknowledging that past, the good and the bad that we have in the past in the history of Canada.
Incredible. And typically on a typical July 1st, communities definitely across Canada, they light up in a sea of red and white as fireworks fill the sky, and residents, they gather to celebrate Canada Day, often described as the Canadian 4th of July. But this year, with the recent discovery of the remains of the hundreds of Indigenous children at the former residential schools, many cities and towns now, they plan to scale back or cancel Canada Day celebrations outright to make space for those grieving the loss. So is that the case this year? Or will Canada Day be cancelled, or how will it be really celebrated this year?
So look, some communities have taken decisions to cancel, others are going forward, but are making space, are creating space for that reflection. That I just talked about. And certainly in Dubai and in the UAE, Canadians will still be celebrating Canada Day, but I hope that they take the time to reflect on those elements that I mentioned. In Dubai specifically, there are some events planned at City Walk by the Canadian University of Dubai. So there will be kiosks and retail discounts and so on, and it's taking place at City Walk from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. today. Our partners at the Canadian Business Council in Dubai and the Northern Emirates have also lined up some promotion activities with Canadian retailers in the UAE. So places like Tim Hortons or Aldo are Canadian retailers that you will be familiar with. And so there are promotions available today, and the details are on the CBC Dubai Instagram page if you want to know more.
And could you elaborate some more on the activities to celebrate Canada Day that are taking place here in the United Arab Emirates? I especially find it interesting that you brought up reflection, which is very, very important here. Will the activities incorporate some of those elements as well, the reflection, the education, as part of the celebrations today?
So for sure, that's part of the discussion that we're going to have with Canadians throughout the day here, including at the event I mentioned at City Walk. But there are also a lot of resources available through the website of the Canadian government for Canadians to spend time and educate themselves on that history. The very important role that the First Nations have played in their culture and their traditions that are 100% part of what Canada is and will be.
I want to touch on another subject on this day. Climate change. It's an important subject, and we cannot escape from it, really. And it's causing record-setting temperatures to become more frequent. And globally, we've seen the decade to 2019 was the hottest recorded so far across the world, really. And the 5 hottest years have all occurred within the last 5 years. Now, Canada has just witnessed a heat wave that gripped the country. Can you talk to us more about it?
Yes, Rania, just amazing sitting here in Dubai is that some places in Canada were warmer than Dubai in the past over the course of this week. This is unprecedented. So we had 2 days in a row where we beat the record of the hottest temperature ever recorded in Canada. So it went up to 47 degrees in a small town in British Columbia. I think on Tuesday. So what this shows, this is not normal in Canada. We should have nice low 30s kind of weather. What this shows is that the impact of climate change is real, and it's causing hardship on the environment, of course, but on humans. So we've had a huge number of cases of heat-related hospitalizations and even death. You have to remember that not everybody has air conditioning in Canada because this is not a thing that the kind of weather that they have to deal with normally, but maybe it's the kind of weather we have to deal with going forward. The good news out of all this is that the Canadian government is taking action, and just this week the government has passed 2 pieces of legislation. The first one where we are phasing out the gasoline-powered vehicles by 2035. So after 2035, all the cars sold in Canada have to be zero-emission vehicles. And then by 2050, we're aiming to be a net zero economy, meaning that Canada will no longer emit carbon. Right, it will balance everything that it emits, and so those are the kind of actions that we can take to deal with climate change. But it's with us, and we have to learn to live with these extreme weather events that are causing a lot of hardship to folks in Canada and around the world.
Certainly is something to be mindful of, indeed, with the awareness for the indigenous population in Canada, as well as the climate change scenario. But shifting our focus back on to Canada Day, and a lot of Canadians who'd like to be celebrating it. Some would like to even fly back to Canada.
We're getting a lot of questions about that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the vaccine. Some people have taken the Sinopharm. They were going to be slightly concerned about going back. So what are the rules at the moment? Should they be flying back? Because we saw the resumption of Air Canada services as well. So congratulations to you for that. So bringing them back here again. So what are the general rules that Canadians should know when flying back, especially with the Arrive Can app also being very, very important?
Okay, so I'll answer a bit more broadly. So first of all, we have 3 airlines that are offering direct service from the UAE to Canada. So Air Canada has returned, and we're thrilled with that. Emirates is still flying, and Etihad is flying as well. So at this point, tourists are still not allowed into Canada. So there is still a requirement for non-discretionary travel to enter into Canada. So for example, foreign students or foreign workers can enter Canada, but otherwise it's limited to Canadians and Canadian permanent residents. For those that want to enter, as of the 6th of July, we will be suspending quarantine requirements for those who enter, Canadians and non-Canadians who enter, as long as they have a Health Canada approved vaccines. Okay, and Health Canada approved vaccines are the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson. Those 4 only.
So for people,
those that are not.
So for people with Sinopharm, they cannot enter Canada. The people that have taken the Sinopharm vaccine, for example, the Canadians in particular, who have taken Sinopharm vaccine, they cannot enter Canada.
So all Canadians can always enter Canada. It comes as part of the deal with the passport. It's not a problem, but they still are required to do a 14-day quarantine. First of all, a short hotel quarantine until they get a negative PCR, and then complete the 14-day quarantine at home. So that's the difference. Is that only the Health Canada approved vaccine. And it has to be, the full course of vaccine, and then 2 weeks after that, they're able to enter quarantine free.
Right.
And Abdul Karim, you mentioned the Arrive Can app, so that's very important. That you be vaccinated or not, you still need to fill out your quarantine plans on the Arrive Can app. If you are vaccinated, there will be a function to upload your vaccination status into the app. That function is not live yet. It will come live for July 5th, the day before the changes to the rules.
And can we talk about Canada? Sorry, please.
Yeah. I just one last thought is we expect more changes as the situation improves. So stay tuned. Every month there are changes to the rules, and so please Canadians should stay tuned to the announcement regarding entry into Canada.
And can we talk about Canada's participation in the upcoming Expo event here in the country? What's the pavilion going to be like, and what's the significance as well of this event and Canada's participation in it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're so thrilled to be part of Expo in the UAE. And I have to tell you something. Last year, if you had told me Expo is going to go ahead, I would have been a bit hesitant or a bit skeptical. And, now we see that not only is it going to go ahead, but we know it's going to be a success. And we're so thrilled to be part of that success. So this is a testament to the leaders here, the leadership who is able to achieve that vision and a drive to achieve things against all odds. So kudos to the UAE government for getting us here. The Canadian Pavilion is ready. It is ready for visitors. It will open on October 1st, along with the rest of Expo. The focus of the pavilion is the future in mind. It will provide visitors with an experience that is focused on the future, that showcases the best of Canada. And there's a public element to it, but for us also, Expo is about increasing trade and investment between Canada and the UAE and the broader region. Frankly, the UAE being the hub where the region comes to do business. So we're planning all kinds of trade missions and trade activities to take place at the Canadian Pavilion in order to leverage Expo. So there's both sides, both a public side and a business side to our participation at Expo.
It's still early days. I'd like to know if we're going to have some more, let's say, high-profile visits from Canada who are going to be coming over to the Expo. Are there any specific plans yet that have been made public, or is there going to be any teaser that you may be able to share with us?
So there's a lot of excitement about Expo in Canada, especially because people are so eager to go out there. And Dubai has increased its profile, and so there's excitement from people to take part in Expo. I can't make any announcement to you this morning, but I'd love to take your special requests. Yes. Is there a Canadian that you'd like me to reach out to bring to Expo? Can you think of one?
I can think of one, and I could also say that if he does, Mr. Trudeau does a fly over, we have an open invitation to join the Morning Majlis on the.
Okay.
Guasta.
I'll make sure to pass that on.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Your Excellency, I have a personal question today on Canada Day. How will you be personally celebrating this day today?
So, I have a number of public events that I'm involved in. I will be at City Walk this morning to join with others, including the Canada Business Council and the Canadian University of Dubai. But the highlight of my day is one that I spend with my staff here at the Canadian Consulate, where we recognize the good work of the staff over the past year. So we do an award ceremony for the staff, and so that's a highlight for me to spend it with those people who serve Canada and Canadians throughout the year.
No, it certainly is exciting times, and I know you've got a very busy day ahead, so we'll let you move on with your agenda. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Your Excellency, and we look forward to more celebrations to come as well.
Thank you for having me this morning for Canada Day, and happy Canada Day to all.
Happy Canada Day to you and the consulate staff, as well as the embassy over in Abu Dhabi. Shout out to the team. Thank you very much. And this was His Excellency Jean-Philippe Linteau, the Consul General of Canada, speaking to us on the Morning Majlis about the significance of the Canada Day. Stay tuned. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.